Every year, 8 million metric tons of plastics enter our ocean on top of the estimated 150 million metric tons that currently circulate our marine environments.
By 2050, there will be more plastic in the oceans than there are fish. The buildup of plastic in our oceans is contaminating water, killing marine life, and poisoning food chains. Humans and animals alike are suffering from the growing threat of polluted oceans.
In fact, plastic has been found in 59% of seabirds like albatross and pelicans, in 100% of sea turtle species, and more than 25% of fish sampled from seafood markets around the world.
According to Planet Aid, 70% of the oxygen we breathe is produced by the marine life, and 90% of the Earth's water supply is from the ocean. We need to protect this vital resource.
The plastic comes from a variety of sources. 80% of the plastic comes from land activities, and the other 20% comes from boats.
Since most plastics are not biodegradable, they sink to the ocean floor and harm the ecosystems. In fact, 70% of plastics sink to the ocean floor. We have produced more plastic over the last 10 years than during the entire century. Petroleum-derived plastic production has increased almost exponentially since 1950.
50% of the plastic we use just once and throw away. According to EcoWatch, enough plastic is thrown away each year to circle the Earth 4 times. Plastic water bottles are a main concern. On average, Americans throw away 35 billion plastic water bottles.
Worldwide, 500 billion plastic bags are thrown away annually. According to Business Insider, if the current production trend, approximately 5% increase per year, continues, another 33 billion metric tons of plastic will accumulate around the planet by 2050.
Microplastics are one of the biggest concerns. This includes fibers or beads, which can also absorb harmful pollutants like pesticides and dyes, only to release them later into the ocean.
For a while now, we have known that plastic is harmful to marine life. But the influx is also harming humans. People who consume fish that ingested plastic are then consuming the plastic themselves.
Aquatic microorganisms are also being affected by the plastic in the ocean. Organisms such as phytoplankton. Phytoplankton produce 50% of the world's oxygen, which ultimately affects the human population. This is a growing problem.
As we spoke about before, plastic never fully biodegrades. Instead, plastics break down under UV light into smaller and smaller pieces to the microscopic level. Any toxic additives they contain will be released into the marine environment.
Plastic coming from boats is a concern to major marine life such as whales. A quote from Business Insider states that scarring on whales from the Gulf of Maine indicate that more than 80% of right whales and 50% of humpback whales have experienced entanglement in fishing gear. Seals and other marine mammals often get caught in the nets as well.
Plastic can carry invasive species, which can harm ecosystems and destroy life in non-native areas. This is a point that many do not think of when they think of ocean pollution, but invasive species can be just as destructive. Their travel is expedited by floating plastic.
The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is a result of the massive amounts of pollution. Spanning from the western coast of the United States to Japan, this massive 50-foot tall garbage heap sits in the North Pacific Gyre. The circling ocean currents keep the trash together, virtually poisoning the water surrounding the area. Scientists have tried to measure the amount of debris, but haven't had luck as the mass is too large. This garbage patch is increasing and other patches are popping up in our oceans. Just another example of how human activity is becoming extremely harmful.
What do you think the main causes of ocean pollution are?
Litter, basically, garbage that has run off.
Do you think that students are aware of the impacts the amount of plastic we're using has on the ocean?
I think some do, but a lot don't because they are not out there to observe it themselves.
How is ocean pollution affecting our Westport environment?
Well, it's damaging wildlife and creating situations where animals can't survive or die from being exposed to toxins that a lot of the garbage has.
Mm-hmm. How have you seen ocean pollution evolve over time?
It's gotten worse over my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think we can do as a Staples community to help our oceans stay clean?
Well, number one, think before you throw out your trash, and then figure out and pay attention to what you're doing. Is it plastic? Is it paper? And then spread the word. A lot of people don't know, so educate your friends about this. And not everyone knows what a big problem is, but it's going to affect your generation.
The first idea is preparing a curriculum to bring into the elementary schools. Senior internships begin mid-May, falling right after Earth Day on April 22nd. Seniors going to elementary school will be mandated to bring a one-day lesson plan to educate and advocate for environmental problems, focusing especially on plastic and ocean waste. Being a role model to these kids would allow them to listen and take what we have to say into their everyday lives.
These lessons would include a hands-on activity such as an exhibit on just how much plastic is in the water, a visual aspect including videos and pictures, and a take-home brochure with different tips students can utilize in their own lives. This curriculum is essential to bringing in all members of the community, no matter how old.
Some smaller initiatives we can take are to stay away from one-time use plastic objects and choose reusable items instead. Some examples could be to use cloth bags over shopping bags, metal or glass reusable bottles over bottled water, and refuse single-serve packaging.
Lastly, on a larger scale, one main goal is to install water bottle refilling stations in all public facilities in the greater Westport community. While most universities and affluent public and private schools have them, this will incentivize people to bring their own reusable water bottles out and about with them.
In the next 30 years, plastic will far outnumber the amount of organisms in our oceans. The most important thing is to talk about it with your family, friends, and anyone who will listen. You can be the change. This activism doesn't start today. It's just the beginning. No one is immune to this problem. It is our duty as global citizens to put our own personal wants below what the world absolutely needs. Our convenience is not worth sacrificing hundreds of species in the world.